So there's a lot of folks heading up here that are a little bit worried that when they get here, they're going to spend these long winters inside with their kids and there's going to be absolutely nothing to do because everyone's stuck inside and it's going to be super boring all winter long. Well, it's not exactly true. There's tons of stuff to do outside, especially in the winter, and today we're going to talk about them. Let's get into it. All right, number one, sledding and tubing. So there are a few different places that you can go to, especially in and around Fairbanks, various hills and parks where you can go sledding or tubing. You can get sleds at pretty much any store in Fairbanks in all winter long, from cheap little plastic ones to you name it. If you want a super expensive thing to go down the hill with, you can get it, but you just need something small. So two great places to take a look at. There's a sledding hill at Denali Elementary School on Lathrop Street. They've got, the playground is also a lot of fun to play on, especially in the winter. They've got a side that's a little bit bigger for older kids and a side that's a little bit smaller for younger kids. And all winter long, that huge sledding hill is going to have nice little sledding pads that you and your kids can sled down all winter long. It's going to be great. Check it out. The other place you can check out is the huge sledding hill at UAF. And it's right next to what will be the ice climbing wall, or the climbing wall that's there during the summer. And it's a killer. I mean, you'll go down that hill so fast, snow will be flying in your face. It's crazy. Now, depending on how much energy your kids have, they may only want to go down a couple of times. You may only want to go down it a couple of times. It's a pretty big hill, so take a look at it. The next activity that you can do is ice skating. And before moving to Alaska, I had been ice skating one time for a cousin's birthday party when I was like 11 or 12. So I had no idea how to ice skate. If you've got young kids, maybe starting them skating early is the best thing, because they're probably going to want to skate all the time. And the Big Dipper Ice Arena is a great place to learn. They've got a great option for skating both inside and outside. I'll put a link to their website in the description so you can take a look at it. But their outdoor rinks are pretty good, and it's a great spot to learn how to skate. They've got skates that you can rent there. See if you can get your ice legs. That's a thing. And if you want, you can also go take a look at the ice skating rink there at UAF. It's an outdoor rink and it's maintained by the folks there at UAF, but it's lit up really well, especially in the winter. And if it's not super, super cold and there's not, folks playing hockey on it, you can get out there and skate as much as you want. And it's absolutely free. It's a really nice rink and it's really nice. Both of them are fantastic options, especially if you've been spending a little bit of time inside and you want to get outside and do something, get some cardio. It's a lot of fun. Also, if you've rented some skates and you're like, wow, I really want to do this more often and the kids love it, a great spot to pick up some skates for pretty cheap is Play It Again Sports. Probably going to talk about Play It Again Sports a few more times because it's a great spot to pick up cheap equipment that is gently used. And it's typically only gently used because it's Fairbanks. So take a look at Play It Again Sports. It's worth it. Number three, we've talked about this one before, but we're going to talk about it again, is taking a look at the Northern Lights. And I love the Northern Lights. If there's just nothing like it, being outside in the crystal clear darkness when the lights are out jumping around and dancing is like nothing else. It just isn't. And if you're lucky enough to be able to see it, you'll also probably see, if you're driving around, people pull off to the side of the road wherever they are and outside of their vehicle and just watching, because it is absolutely mesmerizing. And you'll probably see me pull off to the side of the road wherever I am watching the Northern Lights. A great place to find out, because a lot of times I'll find out the next morning after looking at Facebook in the morning that, oh, the lights were out last night at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why I didn't know. But you can take a look at the UAF Geophysical Institute. They have a great website that has an aurora forecast to be able to tell you kind of more or less what the forecast is for the day. And it's not going to tell you exactly when they're going to come out and when they're going to be at their most radiant and dancy, when they're getting all fancy, but it will definitely be able to tell you more or less what the forecast is for the day, and it's worth it. You should definitely bookmark that one. Another winter activity that you can do here in Fairbanks is visiting the ice sculpture parks. So there are two great places that you can check out ice sculptures. The first is the World Ice Art Championship at the Tanana Valley Fairgrounds, and people travel from all over the world. They'll come here to Fairbanks and they'll do ice sculpting competition. And it's right here in town, which is really, really cool. And some of these things range from very simple formations to these super intricate, complicated ice sculptures. And it's amazing what they can get ice to do. And some of them are out there with little chisels and some are with chainsaws. It's really cool to see. They're all lit up. It's worth taking a look at. The other is the Ice Park Winter Event Center, which is off of Phillips Field Road. And this one's really cool because it's not, you don't just, look at it as, from the outside walking through. You can drive through a little path that's been plowed out. And as you're driving through it, there are Christmas lights that play holiday music all year round, or not all year round, but they play holiday music during your tour. So you can set your radio dial to the local radio station. I'm not sure which one it is, either 99.1 or 103.9. 103.9 definitely plays holiday music all December long. You can set your radio dial to where the Christmas lights are programmed to, and then you can listen to the holiday music as you're going through the tour. It's a lot of fun. We typically do it 2 or 3 times a year. Kids love it. It's really awesome. Now, there are also typically ice sculptures all around town. The Santa Claus house in North Pole typically has a few. So it's worth, if you see some, stopping out to take a look at them because they're very well done and they're really cool. While you're out seeing Santa Claus, though, you should probably stop out and see reindeer too, because they're out there too, getting trained up for the big day. Thinking about moving to Fairbanks? Well, click on the link below for my free relocation guide where I talk about top schools, top neighborhoods, and so much more. So on top of all of the outdoor activities that you can do in the winter, you can also do a few indoor activities too. And a few of them are some of our indoor museums and science centers. The Fairbanks Children's Museum is a great option, especially if you've got younger children. They've got some interactive learning and play options there. We've been going there with my kids for years, and they have a ton of fun. We're there all the time during the winter, and it's just a fantastic option, especially for young kids. They put on all kinds of exhibits, and the whole thing is catered for kids. It's a great space for kids. Museum of the North is another great option. They'll have several events throughout the winter, but they've got all kinds of exhibits showing, different areas of Alaska, different parts of Fairbanks, different parts of historic Fairbanks, also different cultural aspects of the state of Alaska. And it's a really, really cool way to be able to look at everything that Fairbanks and everything that Alaska has to offer, especially in the north. It's a great way to spend. You could spend all day there looking at everything. There's just so much. The last one is the Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum. And this one is also really cool. It's filled with a huge collection of antique cars that really helped grow Fairbanks and helped grow Alaska altogether. The first time I went there, I'll be honest, I didn't have high hopes, but I was pleasantly surprised. There are a lot of really, really cool history items associated with the Antique Auto Museum, and I highly recommend it. It may not be the best option for children, especially young children, because there's not a lot of things that you can touch, and there's a lot of velvet ropes to stay behind. But if your parents or grandparents are visiting, they'll probably get a real big kick out of it. So pro tip, take them by the Fountainhead Antique Auto Museum. It's worth it. Number 6, hot springs. So there are a few natural hot springs all over the state of Alaska, and there are a couple that you can actually gain access to and get a good soak on. And some of them are really, really nice. The hot springs at Manly Hot Springs, it's a bit far out of town, but it's beautiful and worth the drive if you do make it all the way out there. It's all the way at the end of the Elliott Highway. I can't say enough positive things about it. It was fantastic. The other option is the Chena Hot Springs Resort at the end of Chena Hot Springs Road, about 53 or so miles down the road. And it's a pretty good drive. It's a little bit less than Manly Hot Springs, but it is definitely worth it. Super worth it. They've got a pool, they've got indoor and outdoor hot tubs for kids. Now, the hot springs themselves, amazing, but you have to be over 18 years in order to be able to gain access to them or to get in them. You can't be under 18. If you're gonna bring your kids there, if you're coming as 2 adults and a couple of kids, you're gonna have to switch on and off. One of you going into the hot springs, one of you staying out with the kids. Keep that in mind. There are kind of no exceptions to getting your kids in the hot springs. But that being said, soaking in the hot springs is amazing. No matter what the temperature is outside, there's just nothing like a good soak in that super hot water at 30 to 40 below zero. It's amazing. Definitely try it. There's also a really awesome restaurant, gift shop, and tons of activities to do out there. So check that one out. Number 7, this one is one that I didn't think that I would really enjoy, but once I started to do it, I actually was kind of comfortable doing it, and it's cross-country skiing. So Fairbanks has a ton of different cross-country skiing options and trails that are suitable for a bunch of different skill levels. My skill level is really low, And I've been able to do it at pretty much every place that I've tried. I've not been to one of them, but I've been at every other one. Like I said, this wasn't something that I thought that I was gonna really like at all, because as a kid, I remember that my parents got a Nordic track, little exercise system. And I remember using that as a little kid, and I was like, I hate this thing. This is awful. I never want to do this. But we had kids, and they got into a school that has a cross-country ski program. My kids started it, and they got up and they were able to just ski like they've been doing it all their lives. So then they were like, Dad, will you come ski too? And I said, sure. I've only just hated, the analog or the version of this that I've tried before one time, but let's try it. And I went and got some skis at Play It Again Sports, and turns out it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's actually pretty awesome, and you can use skis to get pretty much anywhere, even in really deep snow. So if you're interested in taking a look at some cross-country ski trails, you can go to the trails at Belaine Lake. Those are some really, really great, well-groomed trails. Birch Hill has some trails, Creamer's Field has some trails, and Chena Lakes has trails. I would be willing to bet that Tanana Lakes has some trails as well. There are trails pretty much anywhere, and majority of them are used so often by folks, either ski joring or just cross-country skiing, that you'll be able to do it pretty well. So give it a shot. You can pick up some skis for pretty cheap at Play It Again Sports, and if they don't work for you, you can just bring them right on back and somebody will play it again. All right, last on our list is snowshoeing. This kind of goes along with the cross-country skiing. This is something I didn't think that I was going to enjoy. I also thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was. Turns out falling and getting up is kind of harder than it looks when you've got huge things on your feet, but it's not so bad. So you can actually navigate and maneuver pretty well in super deep snow with some good snowshoes on, but make sure you get some that are actually for your size and for your weight. If you're a bigger person and you're wearing undersized snowshoes, you're just going to post hole, and that's not going to be fun. You're not going to enjoy it. So make sure that when you find some snowshoes, when you get some snowshoes, you get some snowshoes that are made for you and your size. When I first got some, I was a lot heavier than I am now, and I got some undersized snowshoes, and I went out and I was not snowshoeing. I was just walking in snow with some larger than normal shoes on, and it was awful, and I hated it. And it took actually getting some snowshoes that were for my size to make me like, oh, well, this isn't something that's so awful. So if you're gonna look for snowshoes, you can typically find them at Costco, you can find them. You can find them at Sportsman's Warehouse. You can find them at Prospector Outfitters. You can find them all over the place. And I highly recommend snowshoeing because you can get to some pretty cool places in the middle of the winter when it is totally still, and you can absolutely hear a pin drop just because of the way that sound moves in the winter. So it's pretty cool. There's nothing like being able to enjoy winter in Fairbanks. And if you want to spend, your time here actually enjoying your time in the winter, I hope that some of the things that I talked about will help you actually get outside and enjoy those things. Otherwise, you're missing out on at least half of the time that you could be spending really living it up in Fairbanks. So I hope that worked out for you. As always, if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Almost 95% of our viewers aren't subscribers. So by clicking that button, you'll be able to see all of the videos that we make and all the content that we create specifically for first-time home buyers and first-time home sellers here in Fairbanks. So you'll also help to make sure that all this information gets directly to them. That way we can help kind of share all of this for everybody that needs to see it. We've been here for a really long time. We've been burned in a lot of these things, and we want to help prevent everybody else from getting burned too. So if you like this video and you want to talk about it, give us a call, 907-885-0316. You can also reach out to us on our website, www.fbxhomesearch.com. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.